Right. So, hi everyone, I'm Anna. I'm the founder of Kleido. I founded Kleido as something I really wish I had when I was a high school student, where I can explore careers and career paths with a variety of different professionals, get insight you can't really find on Google, and understand the option ahead of me while making critical decisions about my future. So, what Kleido does as a startup is that it's focused on getting students exposure to real people and real example. And allow students to learn about careers that is rapidly evolving. Directly from current professionals so that they can make informed decisions at this critical time in their life. As a student, you can explore different careers with relatable young professionals. You are in charge of the conversation, and we will provide the guidance and structure for you to interact with your advisors. You can get matched or book a session with an advisor directly as you want to expand or narrow down different options. And as a parent, you can enable your students to get exposed to different in demand careers with our network of vetted professionals and receive personalized high level insights directly from these advisors. Today, you're actually going to hear from Daryle and George, two of our star advisors, talking about their careers in data science and product management. These are actually two very in demand fields. If for those of you that haven't heard of it, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics actually predict data science will see more growth than any other field between now and 2029. And according to Glassdoor, which is a very well-known, enormous company review site, product managers is among the top 10 best job. So we're going to hear from Daryle and George. Do you guys want to just say hi and where you're based at and what's your current role? And then we're going to delve in deeper in the questions that we're going to have later on. Anyone can
Hi,
start.
I'll start first. My name is Daryl. I am currently I'm kind of an independent contractor. So I do work as a data scientist and also as a software developer for several different startups and organizations in the Bay Area and also outside the Bay Area. I guess I start with like a bit of my background, my journey. So I actually started out in high school. I went to a magnet high school in Florida, which what was really special about it was not only was a magnet high school, it was also like a vocational center for adults. So along my junior and senior year, I got some training in computer programming, which I then used to kind of parlay into and so early internships in high school, and then so I had some on the job experience by the time I graduated. So then I went to college, and I graduated with a computer science degree, and then from Florida Tech, and then from there I got my first job as a software engineer working for Lockheed Martin in Orlando. And then while I was working at Orlando, I worked for probably one of the most premier high profile programs, the F-35 Lightning II program, where I wrote software for a uh, a fire control. Well, let's say another way to say it: a sensor that goes underneath the cockpit of the F-35 that's used for targeting the bad guys. This this sensor that's being used to just help the fighters shoot down the enemy. So I did that for about 4 years, and then along the way, I found out about data science, and then got an interest in it, and then I eventually took a leap of faith, moved to San Francisco, and then I I took a boot camp. I did a boot camp in data science, and then from there I was able to get an internship with a startup, and then parlay that into eventually working at Tesla, and then a few years later, just now doing what I'm doing today, just independent contract work. Awesome. Yeah, it's good to be here.
Right. Thank you so
I,
much, Daryle.
yes.
George.
I have no way of comparing to that. That's way cooler than anything I've ever done. I'm originally from New York. I went to a prep school north of New York City, and I was actually exposed to computer science in high school. Fortunately enough, we had an AP computer science offering, so it helped me kind of scratch the surface. And I was like, "Oh, this is a really cool way of thinking." I had a teacher that described an algorithm, compared an algorithm to a recipe for brownies. And I was like, I can follow this because I'm someone who likes to cook. I'm a big foodie. It made me decide that I wanted to study computer science in college. I went to Washington and Lee University in Virginia, studied computer science there, and moved my way out to the Bay Area to start a job at Workday, the large human capital management software company. Way less cool than F-35 programming, but it is a large company that taught me a lot, and it definitely was a great way to get myself started out here. And a year into my job as a software engineer, one of the PMs on my team, product managers, came up to my desk and said, "Hey, do you have 5 minutes?" And I was like, "Oh no, I messed something up. What did I do wrong?" And we sat in a conference room, and she said, "We've been looking for another product person for the team, but we realized that after interviewing a bunch of people, the answer might actually be under our nose. Would you be interested?" And it's like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I would love to do this." And it was a transition I always thought I wanted to make, but it fell in my lap earlier than I expected. So I made the switch, did that for another couple of years at Workday before finding a mentor. Funny enough, I don't have to go too deep into this, through a pizza Instagram that I ran for a while. But that led to a mentor that was my next boss. And then now I work as a product manager at a company called Updater, and I poached my pizza boss to this current job. So anyways, that's where I am today, and I live in San Francisco.
Thank you so much, Daryle and George, for your introduction. Both very cool advisors, as you can see. And I wanted to start my question by asking, why are you here as an advisor for Kleido in the first place? I'd love to hear maybe, from Daryle again, since you started it. And just curious why you're here.
Yeah, one of the things I'm really excited about as being an advisor for Kleido is just one, the opportunity to share some of my knowledge and expertise to other people who are trying to either considering a path in software development or data science, or want to go down that path and want to find out ways to get there, try to avoid some of the mistakes I've done. And I really love and it's also just a way for me to kind of opportunity to kind of see how far I've come, kind of like as a transformational experience, like just being able to see and kind of helping somebody else with some of the problems they have and some of the situations they're dealing with. I get to kind of look back and say, oh wow, I did this. Because sometimes, when you're head deep into your career and you're doing stuff, you kind of forget where you've come from. And then this is like an opportunity for me to kind of see, okay, wow, I did this. I've actually accomplished something, and I can actually help somebody, inspires people to do more, and even go beyond what I've done, or even inspire myself to do even more. So, yeah, those are the main reasons. Yeah.
There is nothing that tells you how much you've learned or not. Nothing does that more than trying to talk to someone else and teach them about your experience or the things that you know. So yeah, I can totally echo the kind of fulfilling, but also reassuring, or maybe, gap exposing nature of it. But I mean, for the role that I'm in, I didn't know what a product manager was. I'd never heard that term when I was in high school, but I think it would probably have been something that would have really grabbed my attention when I was, 14, 15, 16, even before I really took my first, programming class. And having insight into the options that exist that are not just firefighter, doctor, lawyer, whatever, that, not that there's anything wrong with any of those things, but like, there are so many options and opportunities that exist that you don't get exposed to when you're younger, that I think that would have been such a valuable thing to have on my radar early. So that's a lot of the value that I see.
Yeah, and very similarly echo my reasoning for creating Kleido, to bring together people like you as an advisor, and students like Liam here, and other students who just want to learn about the different career opportunity that is available for them, and specifically what is, the most on demand and in need of careers that needs more of our youth to be in there. So that actually leads to the next question, that the world of work is always changing. Your careers as product managers and data science are just something in the last decades that really appeared. Can you first give me a little bit of insight of what your role actually is for those of us who just doesn't really understand it? And how have you seen, your role evolve in your time here? And this is going to be a little bit of a long question, but how do you really see it evolve in the future as some of the students are heading into it?
Yeah, I guess I can start again. So I guess the easiest way to think about data science is essentially what a data scientist does is they analyze data using a variety of different methods, and then they communicate. So they analyze data and they discover insights in the data, and they communicate the insights to a business or anybody who's looking for data to be analyzed. That's kind of like basically the nutshell what data science is all about. And doing that and doing so, there's a lot of different methods that a data scientist can use to do that. So it might involve using basically making database queries using like tools like SQL. It might be analyzing data in an Excel sheet. It might also involve developing AI and machine learning algorithms, and and then when you as a result of the analysis, there's also some sort of end product you might want to produce with it. So it might be a dashboard to present the findings, or it could be an application like a good example, common example used is Netflix. So Netflix is powered by AI and machine learning. So one output from the work that a data scientist might do is like a recommendation engine that would recommend movies to people who are visiting Netflix. So there's always some sort of business outcome, that's business purpose that's always driving the use of data science. So that's what basically what data science is. And wow, so when I first started data science, it was kind of like this was 2016 when I started it, and it was basically it was as Anna said, it was basically something that was growing on the rise. And as I've been involved in the field since then, I've seen it more and more becoming more and more part of every business. The company I was working for at the time when I first started out my journey, at least a particular business area I was working on didn't really have a lot of much data science involved. But then when I actually look back and come back looking for roles right now, like today, there's a whole bunch of there's a lot of mentions of machine learning, need for machine learning, people with machine learning expertise, people who can analyze data. So since I've started, the time I started back in 2016, and now it's basically grown. Like, because it comes to it's basically in response to all this data that's now becoming available, the availability of all these we have like the Internet of Things, data coming from different devices, all these different software systems. And then now there's a need for companies who has an interest in trying to analyze all this data that they're collecting from their customers, that's being generated from products, and try to get some insight that they can utilize for producing more products, improving their services. So that's also pushing the demand for more data science professionals. So data science, one of the biggest challenges of data science is that it's a very, very big, broad field. So because it's involved in a lot of different industries, it can be health, it could be military, government, politics. Politics and government, same thing. Okay. Sports. The skill set, the skills that are required to become as a data science it'd be pretty broad and very broad. So it involves obviously some software engineering, computer science. It involves statistics. It involves linear algebra, some calculus. So one of the biggest challenges I saw was, trying to find a candidate who can do all those things. And you know that's what I've seen and I've observed is that that's basically kind of impossible. Like it's very impractical to find someone who can really do all these things. So what I've seen is that they've taken a role within data science, and they've broken it down to several different types of kind of roles. So they have a data scientist who's more kind of the business focused, like more like data analyst, who's just analyzes reports, findings, and communicates it to a business stakeholders. And they might be more like a data scientist who's more and more engineering focused. They call those data engineers who helps develop some of the data infrastructure, the data that they write software that basically number crunches the data. They call it data wrangling. Process the data, put it into some sort of format that maybe an analyst or a data science professional has much more of a backdoor skills in machine learning and statistical analysis, can then analyze and then produce some sort of machine learning model to it. And then there's also more of kind of the research focused data science professionals who come from who has a PhDs and doctor's degrees from universities and are working for like companies like Google to help make the more bleeding edge search and AI algorithms. So data science has definitely is very broad. What I've seen over the past couple of years is I feel like it's gotten much more, the individual roles have gotten a bit more defined. In my opinion, people might say may have other opinions otherwise. So yeah, that's what I've seen, how it's changed over the years. I'm also seeing because of the need for more insight, companies need for more insights, more tools or software to kind of help facilitate that insight and analysis. Like one of the things I've seen emerge over the past couple of years is like automated machine learning tools that'll automate development of machine learning models. Now, those tools obviously won't replace a data scientist, because you'll still need somebody who can actually understand what the AI algorithms are doing, and will be able to kind of help maybe tailor it or modify it to serve the business purpose. But but it's just to say that I've seen more emergence of certain tools that kind of help facilitate or some parts of the data science process. So it might be automated machine learning, also tools that help automate certain parts of the data science process, like deploying models that the data science developed into production. So like actually, for example, one company that I've been working for the past few years, they developing a software platform that helps data scientists deploy their models into production. Because engineering is also one of the things that data science skill sets that are that's often been lacking or difficult for people data scientists to acquire, especially if they haven't gotten a computer science degree like I have, or haven't come from a software engineering background. So I've seen a lot of companies develop tools to help kind of facilitate those parts of the process. So what I see is more and more of these kind of technologies coming out into the future. That was a pretty long-winded answer. I may have kind of rambled on a little bit, but I hope that answered your question.
I think Daryle did a fantastic job really breaking down a very complex field, as all of you can see, into more bite-sized pieces for high schoolers. But love to hear what George had to say about his and how it might also related to data science, because it's very in the same field.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of overlap. So as a product management is sort of like a blossoming field. It was, just over 2 decades ago, it truly did not exist. But the Googles of the world started making it a thing. Product managers are you could sort of look at our job as like the coordinator of a road trip. You can kind of just say, "Hey, I'm in San Francisco and I'm going to get to New York." Um, However, you've told me nothing about how we're going to get there. You have not figured out what the stops are. You've not told me what to pack. I don't know how much gas is going to cost. All of those things go into a successful road trip. The product manager's job is to gather all of those things and get them to, I can speed up, and get them to, you know, a good understanding of where we're going and why, and constantly communicate change. Like, hey, there's a storm in Oklahoma. We have to go around it. But we're still getting to New York, and so this is our new stop, and then we're going to go to New York. Those kinds of things are essential to the job, and product management doesn't just exist in software. It does exist in hardware development and all of that sort of stuff. But I actually have a ton of crossover with a lot of data people, from product analysts to data engineers. And the data team is the reason that I understand things we're doing work or don't work. And they're the reason that I come up with, or with their help, come up with new experiments that we can try to change key business metrics. Like, hey, we've noticed that on this page in our checkout experience, we lose 40% of people. Wonder why that is. What if we tried this, this, and this? Those are product analysts usually that help with that, but our data engineering team does a lot of the heavier technical stuff. I think as for the field changing, I think it's a field that is very current with like existing technology. And I think no matter what, at least maybe not no matter what, but over the next number of years, product management will continue to be incredibly important. But the way to be a valuable product manager is to be very current with the changing landscape of technology, with the changing nature of the roles that you work with, being incredibly data literate. If you're not going to be effective. And there's a difference between data literate and data technical, but basically the ability to digest large amounts of data and make sense of it and tie it into what you're doing is essential. So I don't know if that was helpful at all, but.
No, thank you so much, George. I guess since we're a little bit on time, I will love to hear quickly from both of you if you have insight into your current role, product manager, data scientist, when you're in high school. How would you have done things differently in terms of your studies and your next steps?
Yeah, so I'll do it really quickly. So I think one of the things that if I knew about data science back, if I was meant to try and travel, that I knew about data science, I think one of the things I would have focused on developing, in addition to like the technical skills, is actually more of the soft skills. So being able to present, to other people, communicate with other people, because I think that's one of the skills that's actually essential that I use every day as a data scientist, be able to communicate my findings to people I talk to, also creating presentations, data visualizations. So reading books on how to actually take an idea, complex idea that I have, or complex finding, and actually communicate that in a clear manner is something that I would have leaned more on if I knew about data science in high school.
Yeah, had I known product management existed when I was in high school, I probably would have tried to move my way into a product role as soon as I graduated. I knew that I liked the way of thinking that computer science taught me, but I also knew that it did not suit my personality that well to be a software engineer. I'm very extroverted. I like dealing with people a lot. I like doing a lot of different things all the time. And product managers do have to work with marketing, success, engineering, data, the executive team. You really do get to work with everybody. And I find that particularly engaging. So had I known, I probably would have just tried to work to acquire, the skills that product managers need earlier, and maybe tried to get one of those jobs right away.
Thank you so much. Well, it sounds like if you were to know both of these jobs, you would have done things a lot differently going into higher education, and as well as to media after higher education, and how to plan forward for these next